when it comes to talking about a life that matters, so many of us, and me very specifically, I started to go with what I thought I should do, right? To make my mom happy, to make my dad happy, to make my husband happy. Oh, you should do this because that's what matters. You should put clothes out for your husband and cook for him because that's what you've been told matters. And so actually for 8 years, I was living a life with blinders on where I thought I was living a life that mattered, but really all that mattered to me was, is the food on the table and are clothes clean? So how do we take what matters and say, is it actually truly embedded in who you are? And how do we start to identify that we're on the wrong or right path? So I'm going to say a phrase to you. I've stolen it from my husband, but it's so damn good. I'm just going to use it because I use this all the time. To me, what it means by a life that matters is, how do you feel about yourself when you are by yourself? And I want you guys to write that down. How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? Because it's not up to me to tell you what matters to you. It's not up to anyone else to tell you what matters to you. So if you want to be a stay-at-home wife and a mother, and that's your freaking dream, and that's what matters to you, because when you go to bed at night, you feel good about that, hell's yes. And so when I started to realize I wasn't living a life that actually mattered to me, I was putting clothes out, I was cooking for my husband, but I wasn't actually fulfilled. And that's kind of the word that we often use, is fulfillment. And so when we start to really say, what is fulfilled, right? Like, oh, I'm happy. No. Happiness and fulfillment are not the same thing. So I really want to go deep today, guys, on how to identify what is that thing that matters, and then how to actually implement it in 2023, because I'm all emotional and tactical all at the same time. So that's the emotional thing. What you guys are doing right now, when you go to bed, in fact, last night, did you guys feel good about yourselves? Oh, I see some nods. Hells yeah, that's amazing. All right. So now the beautiful thing is that to me is a sign that you're on the right path. That gives you an indicator. Like, I always need a compass, and that will be a great compass for you guys to know if what you're doing right now actually matters. Now, as I was at home for 8 years, not enjoying my life because I wasn't doing actually my purpose of what mattered to me, Quest comes along, and my husband is like, oh, babe, we've got this company. Like, do you mind helping out? And because our house was on the line, I thought what mattered was saving my house. So now I went from what I thought that mattered, is putting clothes and, out for my husband and cooking for him, to then a fear-based mindset, which I thought that mattered, is like, oh, well, you have to show up and build Quest. You have to put in all the hours, because if you don't, you're going to lose your house. And I convinced myself that that was a great North Star. Now you can imagine going back to how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. When I got home every day, I was full of a ball of anxiousness. And so I didn't feel great about myself. I wasn't knowing what I was doing. I was doing it purely out of fear. So even though I was developing skill sets, I wasn't still really fulfilling what mattered to me. So again, we can convince ourselves that we're doing what matters, but when you go to bed, do you feel that? Now, for me, the big pivot was when, as we were building Quest, I was so focused on saving my house that over time, certain things start to happen that started to really pull at my heartstrings. Now we're getting in touch with what actually matters, the things that you almost don't expect. And so for me, I just want to share a couple of them. So I'm in the shipping department. I'm building, we're growing at 57,000%. I have zero idea what I'm doing. I feel insecure and incompetent the entire time. I don't have the skill sets to make decisions. I'm leading, but I have zero leadership skills. So I was just not knowing what I was doing. And then one day we got a letter from somebody who was from the anorexic community. And she said, guys, I've now found your protein bars, and it's helped me be okay with calories again. And on behalf of the anorexic community, I just want to thank you for putting this bar out. Now, I come from growing up where my mum was borderline anorexic, and I saw her day after day starving herself because she thought beauty was her validation. So now you can imagine, as I'm in the shipping department, just being like, save your house, save your house. I get this letter. It knocked me for 6. So when I say what pulls at your heartstrings, you've got to start getting in touch with what that thing is, that even when you fail, even when you feel badly about yourself, I just like gave a whole caveat, right? That I was no good and I was scrambling and feeling insecure. When I had that, how on earth do you keep going? It's these stories. It's the pull at the heartstrings that even when I'm failing, when I woke up every morning feeling badly about myself, failing, doing things wrong, being mocked by myself, like I was mocking myself, all of that can hold us back. But you better freaking believe when I started to think about the anorexic community, that gave me a purpose. That gave me a way to say, you better show up today, Lisa, if you really want to help the anorexic community. So I started to understand what a mission and a purpose actually was. I thought I had a mission and a purpose, save your house, but that doesn't actually get you through the hard times. It wouldn't have emotionally gotten me through the hard times. So you need to have those stories. I think it was Mother Teresa that said, not everybody will fight for the masses, but everyone will fight for that one, which is exactly why you get women that will go freaking ham supporting their kid. They won't do it for themselves, but they'll freaking go ham for their child. So who is that person that you're going to show up for? Maybe it's yourself, but who is that person you're going to show up for every single day that aligns with the life that actually matters to you? Okay. Now, hopefully you have either that person or that theme or that the thing that pulls your heartstrings. Now, the next step is as you do all of this, guys, the truth is you're going to change. You're going to have to make new ways that you're going to approach things. You're going to have to change as a human. You're going to have to change your habits. You're going to have to change who you are. So if you're a people pleaser, in order to live a life that actually matters to you, you're going to have to work on stop people pleasing. You're going to have to start putting in boundaries. So all of these things are going to rub some people the wrong way. Now, what do you do when that happens? Because when I really think through living a life that matters, this is such an important part of it. And when I think about what holds people back from living the life that matters or their life that matters, it is because they're so damn worried about the backlash they're going to get, about the friction, about people saying, oh my God, you've changed. And I really do think that is going to hold a lot of you back. So I found it very important that I make sure that I talk about this very thing right now before I go into the super tactical. So as you start to change, as you start to show up differently, as you start to prioritize where your time and energy is going, I would say it is always easier and better to tell the people that are very close to you so that you can have their support.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.